what was President Ruto apologizing for? Your citizen had been abducted. What exactly was he apologizing? I'm trying to find out what I missed. Mama Samia Suluhu, we love you, lakini hapa kidogo mi nitakwambia umekosea. Nakwambia tu kidogo umekosea, and at the bare minimum you owe Kenyans an explanation of not necessarily why Boniface Mwangi was deported, but why he had to be tortured before being deported.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deport a guy. Don't torture.
Yes. What did Boniface Mwangi do?
Yes.
That's what lacks clarity. Maybe there's something he did. Maybe he tried to organize. He gathered, like people look at TZ and tried to organize. We do not know.
And up to now,
yeah,
nothing has been tabled as to ascertain or to say this is what he did. If you guys remember, if you guys mnakumbuka ile story ya Britney, like the basketball lady,
Britney Griner.
Yes.
The one who was arrested in Russia.
Yeah. Alibemba ni ndo mama alikuwa na nini? Na vape.
Alikuwa ni vape, yeah.
Alikuwa na vape.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But technically, walisema alisema Udem alijaribu ku traffic tembe.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Unaona? Rightfully so, wakasema hapa this person atumtaki. They arrested, wakamweka korokoroni. There was something they said.
There was a process.
There was a process.
Yeah.
The other one, if you remember, the guys they have really negotiated for, it's guys who are being accused of espionage.
Yeah.
Journalists. Unaona? And some people they've been sentenced, they've gone through the trial as fast as it may be.
Yeah.
They've gone through a trial and they've been sentenced.
Yes.
Right? But they come out and say alikuwa ni espionage. He's a spy.
Yeah. So they give us something.
They give something.
Yes.
It could be mataheko. It could be useless. Garbage.
But they give something.
There's something.
Yeah.
Since that incident, we have nothing. Unless maybe they have said through their channels or something has come out or there's an official report or document or statement from Musalia Mudavadi stating what happened or in consultation with the Tanzanian embassy, whatever, this was what this and this happened. This transpired and this way he was arrested.
Yeah.
Arresting is one thing. Lakini, between being arrested and being released, mse alionwa wo. In addition to the young lady, the Ugandan journalist.
Yes, the lady journalist. And there's allegations of rape. I will repeat allegations. There's allegations of rape. So this right here is putting a very bad spotlight on Tanzania. They are our brothers, they are our friends, but this is putting a very bad spotlight on them. And we clearly don't know what the goals were, because I think it would have been okay to deport Boni for whatever reason, but torture and like transporting him from Dar es Salaam all the way to the Lunga Lunga border, that was totally unnecessary. The Ugandan journalist was also transported to a remote border in Uganda. Totally unnecessary. Now, some people are asking the question is, what was this horde of Kenyan activists doing going into Tanzania? That's something that we're going to discuss. But one of the reasons why they were going there was to attend Tundu Lissu's trial. And maybe some Kenyans may not be familiar with Tundu Lissu. Tundu Lissu is someone who's actually been right here in Kilimanjaro studio, and Bandio interviewed him on his show at Kwanza Production. And to those who are not familiar, Tundu Lissu is a former member of parliament and an opposition leader in Tanzania. He actually survived an assassination attempt back in 2017 after being shot 16 times and then went into exile. Tundu Lissu returned in 2020 and ran against the late President John Pombe Magufuli, coming in second and cementing his role as the face of resistance politics in Tanzania. Now, when you fast forward to 2025, He's now facing treason charges on accusation of inciting protests and challenging the legitimacy of state power. And under Tanzanian law, treason is a capital offense punishable by death. Critics, however, both local and international, say the charges are politically motivated and another tactic to silence dissent. The trial has drawn massive attention globally, including from Kenyan human rights activists who attempted to enter Tanzania to show solidarity, only to be turned away at the airports. But it's important to note that Justice David Maraga was actually allowed in. There was another former Chief Justice, Willy Mutunga, who was also among those people who was not allowed. Now those who made it in, of course, included the likes of Boniface Mwangi and Ugandan journalist Agatha Atuhaire, and they were picked up forcefully from their hotels by Tanzanian security agents. They were held for a couple of days and allegedly tortured, then got dumped hundreds of miles away at their respective borders. Now, these incidents, of course, ignited a full-blown online war between Kenyans and Tanzanians, with deep questions emerging about regional solidarity, free speech, and whether Tundu Lissu is getting a fair trial. So here's a question that I want to pose out to the panel, and is this about justice, or is this a warning shot to all those who dare to try to say anything about what's going on in Tanzania? And then iContent says, I thought the East African passport allowed us to roam in and out kama kwenda Kisumu, Eldoret. That is what it's supposed to do, but that's not the practicality of what happens. And then Pablo hapa Paul Nzengo anasema there was a lot of conflicting information online, which left a lot of speculation and clarity. I think he meant lack of clarity. CJ Maraga was in TZ. Why wasn't he denied entry to the same court Kina Martha Karua wanted to go? Even Boniface Mwangi, we are not clear on what they went to do huko TZ. Unfortunately, this story will end too hivyo this time. So yeah, you know, like, and that's why there's a gap, and this is where media sources are supposed to fill in these gaps. We of course do not expect, and I'm saying this in a very polite way, we do not expect that gap to be filled by Tanzanian media, because Tanzanian media, I'm a big consumer of Tanzanian media, they will rarely openly criticize the government like the way we see in Kenyan media. So there's no expectation of getting that criticism from Tanzanian media, in all fairness. But Kenyan media hapa pia wamezembea. I think this is where, you know, like, they need to take an extra step. In this era where there's information coming from all over, how you distinguish yourself as a mainstream media source is by being able to get these gaps that all these online sources are revealing cannot fill. Like, what exactly was Boniface doing in Tanzania? By the time he was getting arrested, what had he done for him to get arrested? Now, if he said upon entry that he had gone to Tanzania as a tourist to visit, what did he do to make the authorities determine that he had not come here to visit, but to do XYZ? These are the answers that we're asking from Tanzanian authorities. Mama Samia Suluhu, we love you, lakini hapa kidogo mi nitakwambia umekosea. You know, nitakwambia tu kidogo umekosea, and at the bare minimum, you owe Kenyans an explanation of not necessarily why Boniface Mwangi was deported, but why he had to be tortured before being deported.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deport a guy. Don't torture.
Yes. So I think that right there is very problematic. And I think also, unfortunately, when this conversation spills back into Kenya, people speak based on what political persuasion they're feeling at that moment. So if they're supporters of the president, you're not supposed to like activists, you're not supposed to like Inaboni. Hawa watu wanasema hiyo ni adabu yao, which is also very unfortunate. And then I think also, like Mika had mentioned earlier, the big mistake Tanzanian parliamentarians made is that rather than address the issue, they went and addressed people that were throwing jabs online and they were throwing back those jabs, saying stuff like Kenya hawatushindi kitu na nini. And now they gave fuel to the people who are throwing these jabs online. And that's why, you started seeing people releasing the phone numbers of those Tanzanian members of parliament, people releasing their academic records, because Kenyans online are vicious. We forced CNN to apologize. That's something that there's a tendency to forget sometimes. So I think if the Tanzanian parliament had focused on the issue, I think there would not have been a problem. I think they were unfairly attacked. I will apologize to them on behalf of Kenyans on Twitter, but I think they also approached this in a totally wrong way. Where there was no, because I was following some of those proceedings and I'm like, this is not what I'm expecting to get from parliament. And it's not like the Kenyan parliamentarians did much better, because there was MPs like Cherargei who are like Finya Kabisa, they should learn their lesson and stuff like that, which is also very problematic, which shows that there's a problem in both houses of parliament, both in Kenya and Tanzania. I can see a comment here coming from Yakobo Simba. Yakobo anasema on Facebook, anasema the entire region has poor leadership. It's a reminder that politicians are in their class and watch out for each other. Heck, they synchronized apology speeches this week. We are on our own. My other question is, what was President Ruto apologizing for? Your citizen had been abducted. What exactly was he apologizing? I'm trying to find out what I missed. Like Mika ama unomaika hapa studio. Is there something that I missed? What exactly was President Ruto apologizing for?
Mika.
Walisalimiwa.
Ruto amezoea kusalimiwa.
Sasa Ruto amezoea. Ruto ni hard kwa alikuwa anawaambia like poleni. Alikuwa anawacheka zile za mjuu umechokoza nani.
So unasema
ile ngori tukujia.
Okay, so unasema ali apologize because of our MPs walisalimiwa ama Mama Samia alisalimiwa.
Wote. Like alikuwa anasema zile fukatu wakosea basically because walikuwa shida yao kubwa ilikuwa sasa. Hata shida ile ilianza kwa kina Boni. Shida ikakuwa Twitter.
Kenyans on Twitter.
Kenyans on Twitter. No, unasikia vitu zenye fanyika, wanasema kuna Gen Z. Alihaka government really akajiandika kama nini provincial commissioner. Akachukua doa alafu akachukua doa akapeana kwa charity. Mwingine akasiji Bank of Tanzania akaiba doa akadonate kwa charities zilikuwa Kenya.
Wow. I mean,
so hiyo pole akiwaambia fulani alikuwa anajua anawaambia pole like alikuwa zile za hiyo pole yake tu ilikuwa za kasi. Ilikuwa tu ile kusema tu cause it was like siji prayer reconciliation thing and he was telling but God kwake alikuwa anasema at least nimepumua hii wiki sijatukanwa, acha tukane mtu mwingine.
Okay, yeah, because